Michal was a princess, the younger daughter of King Saul. She lived in the palace, surrounded by the power and politics of her father's court. But her heart was not captured by a prince or a powerful nobleman. Instead, it was stolen by a shepherd boy named David. She watched from a distance as this young man, armed with only a sling and a stone, faced the giant Goliath. When David won, all of Israel cheered for him. But Michal's heart did more than cheer. It fell deeply in love. Her admiration for his courage and faith was immense. He was everything a hero should be, and she wanted him. Her love was not a secret for long. In the halls of the palace, whispers carried the news to her father, King Saul. But the king did not see a love story. He saw a political opportunity. Saul was growing jealous and fearful of David's popularity. He saw David as a threat to his throne and his family's future. So, he made a plan. He would offer Michal to David as a bride, but not out of kindness. He hoped to use this marriage as a trap, a way to put David in a dangerous situation and get him killed. The king's heart was dark with suspicion, and he was willing to use his own daughter's happiness as a tool for his schemes. King Saul told David he could marry Michal, but the price was not gold or silver. The bride price was 100 foreskins from the Philistines, Israel's greatest enemies. Saul was certain this task would lead to David's death. He underestimated David's skill and God's protection. David, eager to become the king's son-in-law, did not bring 100, but 200. He succeeded where Saul had hoped he would fail. The king had no choice but to give his daughter to David. Michal became a bride, her dream come true. But the foundation of her marriage was built on her father's jealousy, not on pure love. So, the wedding took place. Michal was finally married to the man she adored. For a short time, she must have been overjoyed. She had her hero by her side, but the joy was fragile, like a thin layer of ice over deep, cold water. Her father's hatred for her husband did not go away. It grew stronger every day. Michal was caught in the middle, a pawn in a dangerous game between the king she was born to obey and the husband she had chosen to love. Her new home was filled with love, but it was also shadowed by the constant threat of her father's rage and unpredictable violence. The shadow of King Saul's anger soon fell directly upon Michal's home. One night, the king sent his soldiers to surround David's house. Their orders were simple and brutal: kill David in the morning. Michal learned of the plot. Her love for David was stronger than her fear of her father. She had to act quickly, or she would become a widow before her life had truly begun. Her loyalty was tested in the most extreme way. She had to choose between her father, the king, and her husband, the fugitive. Her heart chose David without a moment's hesitation. She knew she had to save him, no matter the cost to herself. With a clever and desperate plan, Michal helped David escape. She let him down through a window, and he fled into the darkness, disappearing from her life. To buy him more time, she took a household idol, an image, and placed it in their bed. She covered it with clothes and put a net of goat's hair at its head. When Saul's soldiers came in the morning, Michal told them David was sick. Her lie bought precious hours. When the truth was discovered, Saul was furious with his daughter. But Michal, quick-witted and brave, lied again, telling her father that David had threatened to kill her if she did not help him escape. David was gone. The man she loved, the husband she had risked everything for, was now a fugitive, running for his life. Michal was left behind in her father's palace, alone. Her brave act had saved David, but it left her in a terrible position. She was the wife of a man her father now considered an enemy of the state. Her days of newlywed happiness were over, replaced by emptiness and uncertainty. Each day she must have wondered where David was, if he was safe, and if he would ever come back for her. Her heart ached with a loneliness that was deep and profound. Her father, King Saul, was not a man to leave things be. In his eyes, Michal's marriage to David was over. To punish her and to insult David, Saul gave Michal to another man. Her new husband was Palti, son of Laish. We don't know if Michal had any choice in the matter. She was likely forced into this new marriage, her feelings completely ignored. For years she lived as another man's wife, while the man she truly loved was fighting battles and hiding in the wilderness. Her life became a long, silent wait, filled with the pain of separation and the sorrow of a love that had been torn apart by politics and hate. Years passed. King Saul and his son Jonathan died in battle. David, the shepherd boy Michal had fallen in love with, became the king of Judah and then of all Israel. His power grew, and he sought to unite the kingdom under his rule. As part of a political agreement with Saul's former general Abner, David made a demand. He would not negotiate peace unless he got his first wife back. He sent a message saying, "Give me my wife Michal, whom I engaged to myself." This was not a romantic gesture, it was a calculated political move. Taking back Saul's daughter would strengthen his claim to the throne and show his connection to the previous royal family. So, Michal was taken from her second husband, Palti. The Bible tells us that Palti followed her, weeping, until he was ordered to go back. His grief shows that their relationship may have held some affection, but his feelings did not matter. Michal's feelings did not matter either. She was once again a political piece being moved on a board. She was returned to David, a man she had not seen in many years. He was no longer the young hero she had helped escape through a window. He was a powerful king, a warrior, and a man with other wives and other children. The reunion was likely silent and awkward, a ghost of a past love. A great day came for Israel. David decided to bring the Ark of the Covenant, the symbol of God's presence, into his new capital, Jerusalem. This was a moment of immense religious and national celebration. The streets were filled with music and shouting. King David, overwhelmed with joy and reverence, cast off his royal robes. Wearing only a simple linen garment, he danced and leaped before the Lord with all his might. He was celebrating with his people, a king unashamed to show his passionate devotion to God. For him, it was a moment of pure, uninhibited worship. But Michal watched the celebration from a window, just as she had watched David face Goliath so many years before. This time, however, her heart was not filled with love and admiration. When she saw her husband, the king, dancing and leaping among the common people, she was not moved by his faith. Instead, she was filled with contempt. She saw his actions as undignified, shameful, and embarrassing for a king. The shepherd boy she loved had become a king, but in that moment he was acting like a commoner. Her royal upbringing and her years of quiet suffering had changed her. She saw a fool, not a faithful servant of God. When David returned to his palace to bless his household, Michal was waiting for him. The joy of the day was about to be shattered. She did not greet him with congratulations or a warm welcome. Instead, her words were sharp and dripping with sarcasm. "How the king of Israel has distinguished himself today," she said, disrobing in the sight of the slave girls of his servants as any vulgar fellow would. Her heart, once full of love for him, was now filled with bitterness and disappointment. The years of separation, the forced second marriage, and the political nature of her return had created a deep chasm between them that could not be crossed. David's response was not gentle. He did not try to understand her pain or her perspective. His words were a harsh defense of his actions and a painful reminder of her family's downfall. He told her that he was dancing before the Lord, the one who had chosen him over her father, Saul, and all her family. He declared that he would be willing to be even more undignified than this, to be humbled in his own eyes. His reply was a sharp blade that cut to the heart of their broken relationship. He drew a line between his devotion to God and her royal pride, and he made it clear which side he was on. This argument was the final, tragic end to their story. There was no reconciliation, no apology, no understanding. The love that had started with such youthful passion and brave sacrifice was now dead, replaced by bitterness and resentment. They were king and queen, living in the same palace, but they were emotionally miles apart. Michal, who had once risked her life for David, now despised him. David, who had once been her hero, now saw her as a symbol of a rejected dynasty. The silence that fell between them was permanent and profound, a testament to their shared, sorrowful history. The final sentence of Michal's story in the Bible is heartbreakingly simple and stark. and Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children to the day of her death. She lived the rest of her life in the royal palace, a queen in name, but not in heart. She was childless, a lonely figure surrounded by the life of a court that had moved on without her. Her journey, which began with a princess's hopeful love, ended in the silent sorrow of a forgotten wife. The political games of men had cost her everything: her first love, her agency, and her hope for a family. Her life became a quiet tragedy of unmet expectations and deep, unending disappointment.